Hello，各位同學，聽唔聽到啊？我見 AO Admission Office 嗰邊都係好多同學仔咁我哋都線上都有同學仔喺度咁各位同學家長大家好So we will introduce our program in English because we have international students joining us. So okay, so first of all, I would like to welcome you to join our webinar on campus or online. So I really appreciate your time and your interest. So today we will introduce the broad-based admission program under Faculty of Social Science to you, JS2610. So as you can see on this slide, so this program would include 6 majors: European Studies, including French or German stream, Geography, Global and China Studies, Government and International Studies, History, and Sociology. So if you are interested in one of these 6 majors, so you will apply for 2610, this broad-based admission scheme. So we will talk more details later. So I'm the program coordinator, Dr. Lee. Okay, so as I have mentioned earlier, so our broad-based program includes 6 participating majors. So I mentioned that, so I'm not going to repeat again. Okay, so after student join our program, so student will have first the broad-based social science training. Okay, so to attain the general ideas about different majors, because some of the major I believe that you're very familiar with, right? But some of the major probably are quite new for some of the students. So that's why that we will have this broad-based social science training, so that you have a basic understanding of social science and have more understanding about the 6 majors. At the same time, in the broad-based social science training, we also have a wide-ranging activities from the 6 majors so that you can interact with our faculty staff, so our teachers, and also the peer or CNCs, or so the senior students, to interact with them so that you can explore your real interest. So we emphasize your interest, right? Your interest is the most important. To explore your real study interest and assess your capacity. So here is our the structure of our program. Students are required to take a total of 128 units, including 4 major parts. One is social science common core, so I will give more details later. The second part is major, including major required courses and major elective courses. And the third part is general education courses, and the fourth is elective courses. So as you can see that, right, ES means European Studies, and these are the other 5 majors. So these are their distribution of the units. Okay, so as you can see from the table, except the European Study program, the other 5 programs have the same curriculum structure, and the unit distribution of major required and major elective courses vary amongst programs. So here are the social science common core course, including 1 unit course for year 1 student, invitation to social science. So in this course, we will provide both knowledge about the nature, basic principles, and the structures of social science. So that because social science, for some students, may be a bit new, so that you will know what is social science in this course. So this is for year 1 student. And then we also have other 2 free unit courses. These 2 courses are for year 3 and year 4 students. These 2 courses more emphasis are on experiential learning in action. Okay, so they are community and civic engagement and global outreach. Okay, so that in these 2 courses, students are required to do off-campus learning or non-local learning experience, so that we encourage the student, right, to learn through their experience. So you only need to choose one of these two courses. To support students off-campus learning, we encourage, right, we have different opportunities, and we encourage students to do this off-campus learning. So we also have social science internship platform to help students to find these internship opportunities. Our faculty also have a variety of student scholarship. As you can see here, we have admission scholarship for outstanding students, and also top-up admission scholarship for outstanding students, and also a scholarship scheme for international students. So after you come here, understand the student may make their excellence in different area. Okay, some may do very well in academics, some may do very well in serving the community or global exchange. So that's why that we also have different faculty student scholarship to recognize students' performance in different areas, such as academic excellence, best academic improvement, global exchange, and community action. So I think that many students are interested in how we will allocate the major, because this is a block-based, right, admission program. So all the students will come here through 2610. And then I understand that some students already make up their mind, okay, I'm interested in this major, right? So then they want to know that how they will be allocated among these 6 major. So we would invite students to submit applications in two times. Okay, the first is in September, semester 1 of the first year. Okay, so for students, this is very important for students who are interested in European studies. Okay, so students will be invited to submit an application for European studies in semester 1 of year 1. Okay, and then students will be invited to attend the interview arranged by the European Study Program, and successful applicants will start their European Study major study on the 2nd semester of year 1. But if unfortunately students cannot get into the European Study major, they still can join, okay, the application of the other 5 majors as shown on the table, right, on the left-hand side of the table. So, so for students who are interested in, like as mentioned earlier, global and China studies, geography, government and international studies, history, and sociology. Okay, so students interested in these 5 majors, they can apply for the major in mid-June. Okay, so they will be invited to prioritize 2 preferred choices among the 5 major programs. Okay, so that to maximize so we understand that students' interest is the most important. So this is to give more choices for students, the first and second preferred choices in the major application.
Okay. Good afternoon, students and parents. Welcome to HKBU. Geography, we know geography to many of us is a colorful term. It means interesting places, it means mountains and rivers, it means traveling to different cities, different places, different cultures, it means expeditions and adventures. Geography at the university level is much more than just maps or interesting places. Geography is a discipline that uses its distinctive geographical perspective to understand our social and the natural world. In geography, we have 3 sub-disciplines. In physical geography, we study different landforms, vegetation cover, different animal species and their habitats. We study natural disasters and climate change. In human geography, we study human activities. We study our housing habitats, our communities, our cultures, and how we as humans perceive and experience our living environment. We also study transportation, the movements of things, people, information, money, etc. And in geographical techniques, there are GPS, remote sensing, and GIS, geographic information systems. All those techniques help us to better understand our physical and social worlds. So next, I'm going to give you some more concrete idea by using a couple of quick examples to demonstrate how geography as a discipline and as an approach to help us understand our social and physical worlds. For instance, in physical geography, we can integrate data about land slope, about vegetation cover, about soil types. So we can make assessment about the vulnerability of land pieces to certain natural disasters. So for instance, landslide, whether the land is suitable for construction, whether the land is suitable for human activities such as hiking. So we can, based on that information, we can make land use plans, we can make policies to guide human activities. We can zoom out. In geography, scale is a very important concept. We zoom out from the city of Hong Kong to the regional scale. So on the regional scale, in physical geography, we can study tropical cyclones. We can monitor the intensity and the speed of tropical cyclone at any moment. And we can study past events to make better prediction about future events. And we can assess the impact of a future event on our city. In human geography, we can study housing supply and distribution. We can study the social differentiation of urban residents. And we can study, for instance, whether people of different income levels, of different age groups, of different ethnic background are spatially segregated into different parts of the city or integrated into neighborhoods. And in urban geography and cultural geography, we try to understand how humans, how individuals perceive their environment. And we try to understand how identities, values, and a sense of belonging is created and attached to those important landmarks, places, and cultural heritage sites. And again, we zoom out to the regional level, and we frequently use geographic techniques, in this case, remote sensing, to understand human activities. For instance, this is an image taken from the satellite. So on the satellites, image sensors are constantly capturing about the information on what human activities are on the ground. So in this case, this is the satellite image taken at night. At night, the brightness of lights across the world can demonstrate the spatial distribution of human activities. And we can use those important information to understand processes such as urban expansion or the spatial clustering of economic activities, or the spatial links between cities and their satellite towns and other cities. Not only we can understand what is going on the actual physical world, we can try to use geographical tools to understand the processes and patterns in virtual space. So this is an example to demonstrate the spatial distribution of cultural and language communities on Twitter. So here, each color represents a language used by people on Twitter. So as you can see here, the boundaries of cultural and the language communities are not in line with the boundaries of nation states. So for instance, Belgium and Switzerland disappeared on this map. And also we can see that the spatial interactions and links between communities blurred borders and the national boundaries in many places. So for instance, you can see here, the boundary between Germany and Poland was much blurred by the interactions between communities in the two countries, basically due to the legacy of the Second World War. And I'm sure many of you have been using platforms like this to see the numbers and the patterns of coronavirus cases. So the actual technique and the software that are powering all coronavirus dashboards like this one are geographic information systems, or GIS. And the GIS can help us integrate data collected from all over the world to visualize important information to the public. And over the past 3 years, when doctors and medical scientists are fighting the virus at the level of biochemistry, geographers are helping us to understand the spread of the viruses. We know that when viruses are transmitted from one person to another, certain mutations happen. So by linking those small changes in a pathogen and the locations where those viruses are collected from patients, we can actually track the spatial movements of the viruses, how the viruses is transmitted from one place to another, from one continent to another. And then we further zoom in to the very fine level. Here, we can zoom into the level of community or the level of even buildings to look at those so-called super spreading events. So in this case, spatial movement and spatial interactions, and especially spatial proximity between individuals caused the super spreading event when one super spreader transmit coronavirus to a large number of people in those events, such as wedding, temple, bars, etc. And geography also concerns mobility and movements. So in this example, this is Hong Kong people's travel patterns from January 2020. So as we can see here, from January 2020, people's travel behavior significantly reduced. Whenever there's a new wave hit Hong Kong, we can see here there are 3 waves. Whenever there's a new wave of local outbreaks, we see people travel significantly less. And such kind of spatial analysis are also at work whenever we use our smartphone apps to order food online or to call a taxi. So all those techniques and the software and the spatial analysis that are powering those services are geographic information systems and spatial analysis using information that are collected through our smartphones, through our behaviors on the internet and our behaviors in the physical world. And our students in the department studies geography not only in the classrooms and the labs. We study geography in our natural world and social world. We have courses covering all subdisciplines of geography: physical geography, human geography, and geographic techniques. And we have a number of advanced level geography labs, allowing our students to do interesting experiment to test a lot of processes and patterns in our labs. We also provide students with opportunities to go to field trips in various courses and in field camp. And this is our department academic staff. Our department is not big, but we have a group of geographers of diverse background. We specialize in different subdisciplines of geography, and we focus on different world regions, especially Asia. We encourage our students and we take our students frequently to do fieldwork. And one of the highlights of geography students' university life is a field camp that we conduct in the 3rd year. So it was disrupted over the past 3 years, but we are trying to resume the practice next year so we can take our students to an overseas destination to study local cultures, local landscapes, and local communities. And we also encourage many of our students to take exchange programs in overseas universities. Our graduates develop their careers in a large variety of professions, including urban planning, transport planning, housing development, property development, education, community services. Some of our students would like to engage in activities related to economic or social activities. Some of our students are more focusing on areas that are related to nature conservation, climate change, etc. And many of our students became teachers in high schools and universities to inspire young people. If you want to learn more about geography and our department, please visit our website or call us. And our main social media outlet is Instagram, and the account is HKBU GEOG, HKBU GEOG. So you can follow us and learn more about geography tips and numerous events that we frequently organize. So by the way, our geography labs are open now until 5 p.m. So if you're interested in paying a visit to our labs and see the equipment and the interesting demonstrations, so please go to the geography booth on the promenade, and we have staff and students there to help you, to guide you to our labs. So thank you very much for your attention.
So hello everyone. Hello everyone. I see you in the room. The students and the parents. Good afternoon. Let me share the screen first. So thank you very much for everyone. I'd like to give you a very brief introduction of the program of Global and China Study. Compared to the geography program, our program is a relatively young program. It is a transdisciplinary program which studies the multifaceted process of globalization and China's transformation in the changing world. So I think, you know, when reading, when the students and parents, you see the name of geography, you might already have a rough idea of what you are going to study, but you might have more questions regarding what you will be studying in the program of Global and China Study. So basically, our program offers transdisciplinary curriculum to give students a comprehensive and nuanced understanding of the socio-political, economic, and cultural processes of globalization and China's transformation in the changing world. We also provide language and research skill training to enable students to become competent analysts and practitioners in global affairs and China's development. We also offer a lot of experiential learning activities in mainland China and overseas to cultivate in our students a cosmopolitan spirit and intercultural competences so that they can think globally and act locally. So here is our curriculum structure. Our core courses include global study theory, global China, the research skills, summer sojourn 1 at Tsinghua University, which I will explain later, and also the honors project. So our elective courses include, actually, you will see that our elective courses, since we are a transdisciplinary program, our elective courses are constituted of experiential learning activities and also the courses offered by different departments in our faculty that cover a variety of themes, including foreign relations and politics, innovation, economics and development, cultural heritage and communities, and also people, city, environment, and resources. So to foster our three core elements of our GCS program, we have designed a series of experiential learning activities for our students, including the three major activities: Summer Sojourn 1 at Tsinghua University in Beijing, Summer Sojourn 2 in the academic institutions in Europe, and the Global China Work Placement. So I'd like to explain each of those experiential learning components to you. So the first thing is our students are required to join Summer Sojourn 1 at Tsinghua University in Beijing in the summer semester of year 2. So the students will spend 5 weeks there and to get some systematic language training, basically Putonghua training. And also the students will be required to conduct some field research in local communities in order to complete an independent group project. In the past years, our students have completed very interesting research, independent research projects, regarding, for example, the smart society, the local communities, cover a variety of interesting topics and the heated topics these days. And then our students can also choose between two other components of our experiential learning activity. One is, as I mentioned, Summer Sojourn 2 in Europe, and the other one is Global China Work Placement. So the students can feel free to choose between, they can join either one or both. So our Summer Sojourn 2, we have two collaborative partners. One is in Germany, that is the Heidelberg University in Germany, which is a very well-known university in the world. And then our second collaborative partner is the Krakow University of Economics in Poland. So for Summer Sojourn 2, our students will spend 3 weeks in Europe, 1 week in Heidelberg University, and 2 weeks in Krakow University of Economics in Poland. So the students will conduct exchange with the local students and also have a lot of field trips and visits to the local organizations and institutions. And we also have this global China work placement, basically in Hong Kong, mainland China, overseas. So the students can feel free to choose, that have the internship opportunities in any of those locations we mentioned. And we have a bunch of collaborative partners who are very generous in offering our students internship opportunities. And actually this pool is continues to be enlarging. And also students also can join the social science internship in order to claim the credit for this course too. So in addition to, Dr. Kwon just mentioned a number of scholarships that our faculty offer to the students joining our faculty. And in addition to those existing university and faculty level scholarships, our program has a number of scholarships that are exclusive just for our GCS students, okay, including those 4 scholarships I have listed here. So our GCS program is a young program, as I mentioned. So compare with other existing programs in the faculty, we have a relatively small team, but all the academic staff are from renowned universities, and we are very, I can say we are very experienced teachers and mentors, and also very popular among the students since the young staff team. Our team is highly supportive to our students, so we have a very strong bond with each other, like a family. So you can see those are the pictures actually offered by our students, and they want me to share with the audience that how happy their campus life is. So in our program, and our program also offers a very cozy co-working space for our students actually at AAB 902, where our students can spend their extra curriculum time together. So for all the students who are actually every year, they like to spend their time there after classes, and sometimes use the space to discuss, to have discussions, and to plan for a lot of activities. So they usually have a very cozy, happy time in this study room. So if you want to know more about our program, actually you can stay tuned to our news via the Facebook page. We also have an Instagram page, so please stay tuned to our news there. And also feel free to contact our program office at any time. We have extremely helpful staff. And actually, one of our extremely helpful administrative staffs, Yanis, she is at our virtual booth today on campus. So welcome to our booth if you are interested, and we will actually, you can have a virtual tour of our European partner, collaborative partners, the campus of the Heidelberg University and the Krakow University of Economics. We have the virtual tour ready for you. So if you want to experience that, feel free to Please welcome to our virtual booth and our staff, our academic staff also there helping you. Thank you very much.
So welcome to the History Department's virtual consultation day. So this is Guang Junman with another identity as a representative of the History Department. So first of all, I would like to introduce you our big family. So we have many staff members now currently sits at 30 from professors to lecturers and so on. So we have a fairly big teaching and academic staff, and we now offer a number of programs. Of course, we have our undergraduate degree, so basically it's BA in history, so it's part of JS2610, and then you can minor our program as well by choosing 15 units, and we have our postgraduate degrees and so on. So you can always go to our website or our departments to see the course list. So currently we have around 70 courses. So some of them are, all of them are recurrent, or year by year or year after another. So you, in most cases, you will be able to choose what you really like to study in the 3 years of study. So, and of course, we also offer 16 general education courses for all Hong Kong Baptist University students. So if you're not with us or not with this program, and then you are in part of BU, you can always study our GE courses as well. And now our staff really covers many different aspects of history. So our geographical span and our temporal span are actually huge. Okay, basically we have people who work on literally different parts of the world and covering from the Asian area to the modern times, and we have people who studies on different thematic subjects, for example historical anthropology, history of gender, legal history, military history, history of migration, etc. So we have people who work on many different subjects, and if you are interested in, say, any particular historical subjects, you can always find someone to talk to. And now we also offer a minor program. So basically, if you choose 5 elective courses from the history department, you can declare your minor. So details, you can visit our websites. So these are some of our more recent research. As you can see, it covers many different topics, for example, a medical history, military history, Hong Kong history, Japanese history, and so on and so on. So history of Macau, etc. And in many different languages, Chinese, Japanese, and English. And one feature about the history department is that we have many scholarships. Okay, for example, we have currently we have 28 endowment scholarships and 33 annual awards. So it covers not only GPA, but also surface improvements, etc. So almost everyone gets something year by year. So for example, we have certificates of excellence, certificates of merit, all these encouragements, large and small, for the students. And we also run a peer mentoring program, which basically allows year 4, year 3 students to become the mentor of first year or second year entrants, and in order to help them to be familiar with, for example, our program, our structure, or even generally life in a university, etc. Some general advices will be given. And another thing about our department is that we really treat the student-teacher relationship very seriously. We are really committed to, for example, spend time in events with the students, with our annual assembly, with information sessions, etc. So we also have some sort of extracurricular activities, visits, or overseas placements, and so on and so on. So here you can see many happy faces, including myself, very unfortunately sandwiched between two very tall students. Oh no, who put that photo there? Anyway, so if you want to know more about the history department, please visit our department websites. which contains a long series of newsletters, and you can browse through the old newsletters to see. You can see testimonies from the students, testimonies from teachers, etc., etc. And we also have 2 publications, internal publications about the history department and about the testimonies of our alumni. So why? Who puts it up? Anyway, we also have a song. Okay, we are probably the only department who has our departmental anthem. So if you are interested, you can also listen to it in the department's websites. And of course, finally, here's the QR code to our history department's website, and where you can find lots of information about us, about the program, about the structure, and about the students as well. And of course, the newsletters, and of course, the song. So here is the end of my presentation. So if you have any questions, you can ask here. And if you are physically in the campus, you can come to AAB 3rd floor, visit our programs, many different booths. So you have history, GIS, European studies, China studies, geography, and sociology. Everyone is there. Okay, welcome and thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Professor Roger Arwan Scully. I'm Program Director for European Studies. So, excuse me, I'm just going to try and share my screen here. And slide. There we are. So, okay, so talk about European Studies. You've already heard a little bit of the details there. So I know on these days you get quite a lot of information sort of thrown at you. So I'm going to try and keep it reasonably simple and focus on the main points. I think number 1 point to grasp about European Studies here at HKBU is that I think this is one of our very strongest programs, often attracts some of our very best students, and I think really equips the students for lots of possibilities in their future, whether they want to carry on studying or for lots of career and life opportunities in the future. So you've already heard a little bit about the general broad-based program structures, and it was just explained to you that European Studies is a little bit different, and that is because on the European Studies program we take people, we don't assume that you've learned any French or any German beforehand. But we start in semester 2 of year 1 with intensive language training that goes alongside all of the other types of courses that you study. And we equip you so that by the 3rd year, you're ready to go and study abroad. And that by the time you finish your degree, you're fully fluent and able to function in at least 2 European languages, English and then either French or German. Now, how this works is laid out in the slide here. In year 1, you're still studying here in Hong Kong. You do some of your general education classes and common cores and some electives, but then you also start from semester 2 in year 1, doing your intensive language training on either the French stream, when you start studying French, or the German stream, when you start studying German. Alongside that, we seek to develop your specific knowledge about Europe, about its history, its cultures, its politics, its economic development, and things like that. So that's kind of what the first year looks like. And then between year 1 and year 2, we have several weeks of an additional intensive language course. Now, if I remember this the right way around, so in, I think it's in the French stream, you do the summer course in Hong Kong after the first year, and then the second year, after the second year, you go actually to France and do an intensive summer course there before you begin your 3rd year studying in France. And in Germany, I think it's you go to Germany, I think, or Austria in the summer of the 1st year. do some more intensive language training then, do some more after your second year, before you begin your year abroad. Anyway, year one, learning about Europe, doing your other social sciences training, starting on your language training. That's reinforced in the summer, and then you continue that through the second year of your studies, further studying in Hong Kong, some common social science training, some electives, some core European studies courses on history, politics, culture, and so on, and then continued intensive language training, which again is reinforced in the summer after your second year. And all that intensive language training is to equip you for the big challenge, which is year three. And for year three, we have a whole set of partner institutions. For those on the German stream, we have a couple of partner institutions in Austria, and then we have quite a large number, I think well above 10 in Germany. And these are spread right across the different parts of Austria and Germany. Many different types of institutions, large universities, small universities, some of those in big cities like Munich and Berlin, as well as those of you who want to experience maybe rather smaller, quieter, calmer sort of atmosphere for your studies. We talk to all of our students before sending them on exchange, and we discuss the sorts of institutions that will be suited to them. So German stream students go to either Austria or Germany. Our French stream students go to one of our large number of partner institutions in France, or, apologies, I should have updated the slide, we also have now one option of a partner institution in Montreal, Canada, or Montreal as they call it in French. So a large majority French-speaking city in the French-speaking province Quebec within Canada. And there you spend a year living in environment, people surrounded by the language that it is that you're learning, doing many of your studies in either French or German, across one of these different types of institutions. So we have institutional partners like Sciences Po, which is some of the elite institutions in France, various other different types of large and small universities, business schools, and so on. And we work with our students to make sure that each of them gets sent to an institution that is suitable for them. Then in year four, you come back to Hong Kong, you continue studying here, you do the final units for your degree, but amongst those units you do a substantial piece of work, an honours project with about a 10,000 word project, which is written in the language that you've been studying in. So if you're a French student, you produce this whole long piece of written work in French, or German stream students do that in German. Right. What does this equip you for? Well, our graduates end up working in a large number of different types of entities. We have many who end up working for governmental organizations, or some of our recent graduates, for instance, working in the French and German consulates, working in non-governmental organizations, such as the Alliance Française, which is an organization that exists to promote awareness of France and its culture around the world. We have many of our graduates who've gone on to work for major German and French companies like Mercedes, or chemicals company BASF, or companies like that. And of course, many of them also then go on to do further studies, and some of them go on to do their further studies in France or in Germany or in Austria. So we do that through this program where we're developing you into being, as I said, fluent users of French and German, but also combining that with being knowledgeable about the history and the current life in Europe, its societies, its cultures, its politics, its economics. We equip you in essence to be effective cross-cultural communicators. Pretty much all of you will know about life in Hong Kong, and you will already be able to communicate at least in 2 languages, and we equip you to be able to speak in a further one and be able to operate across then really multiple different national settings. So amongst our student body, we tend to get people who are already keen on languages, but we don't necessarily assume that you already know French or German, but people who are just curious about the world, people who want to travel, who want to learn about different parts of the world, in particular those who want to learn about Europe, its languages and its cultures. And this equips you for a whole range of different options for your future life. We do this through a whole range of different forms of teaching. There's lots of different forms of teaching in the classrooms, so standard lectures, small group language teaching. We have lots of people coming in to give talks and things like that. But we also do a lot of activities where we start to use the languages that you're learning outside the classrooms, and cultural festivals of the French and German languages. So we have strong links with organizations like the German Goethe Institute or the Alliance Française. We had an event just over a week ago with the French and German consulates to Hong Kong and Macau. We interact with European companies and the business community that have links with Hong Kong. Do huge amounts of this sort of stuff. So these are just some of the pictures of some of the events that we've had. So that picture at the bottom left there, for instance, is a German language author showing the kind of sort of multicultural society that Germany is today, and an author talking about her recently written book. So these various events where people come in. We have sorts of obviously cultural events and celebrating the cuisine of Europe and different cultural festivals. And we're having a big event in January to celebrate the 60th anniversary of the French-German Treaty of Friendship. Much of the previous 100 years, France and Germany had been enemies. In the early 1960s, they signed Treaty of Friendship, and now France and Germany have an alliance that is about as close as any 2 countries in the world. An amazing achievement, given that they spent many, many years fighting each other, fighting many wars, being firm enemies. They're now the closest of friends, and so we'll be discussing that at one of our events. And then we go out to places. We go out to things like you see the picture at the bottom left here. This was a major exhibit of modern German art. We go out to things when there's other cultural festivals celebrating parts of French or German culture. We take our students that, and then we get in people like the business community. You can see in the top left picture here, talking to our students about what it is to be a major multinational French or German business with a base in Hong Kong, the sorts of things that they're seeking to do, and the sorts of people that they're seeking to attract to work for them. Then there's also opportunities for transnational service learning for in all sorts of interesting and innovative ways as well. So you've heard from me for a few minutes. That's probably enough. You're going to hear plenty today of information. But please, if there's something that you're interested in about this program or just curious about it, do please get in touch. There's details there. I'll leave this slide up for a few more seconds. If you want to scribble down the details. There's even a fax number. Whoever uses a fax these days, if you want to fax us or telephone us or just email, please get in touch. If you have any interest in this program, any questions about it, we want you to come to us with our questions. We'll do our best to answer them. It's a fantastic program. It produces really well-trained students who are really equipped for a lot of possibilities in life, either in Hong Kong or almost anywhere else in the world. And if I've interested you at all, I'd urge you to think further about this program. And I hope that in a year's time or 2 years' time, we might be seeing some of you studying European studies at Hong Kong Baptist University. Okay, thanks very much. I will stop sharing my screen now.
Thanks a lot. I hope my mic is working as well as my PowerPoint here. So In case things are not appearing as it should be, please let me know. All right, so thanks a lot, Professor Scully, and also Dr. Lee. I'm going to introduce our program, Government and International Studies. So the first thing to disambiguate is that we have the same name for the program as well as the department. So today I'm not presenting our department as a whole, which offers other programs such as the European Studies program already introduced by Professor Scully, but only concentrating on the program of GIS itself. My name is Martin Chung. I'm an assistant professor in the department, and also currently acting as the program director for GIS. Personally, I teach and research on conflict and peace in Europe and Asia. Now, the first thing I think that I want to relate to you, as far as I know, most of you are, or many of you are still in the final year of high school. And I would say one big difference between high school and college or university is that your teachers actually spend more time on researching or doing research than teaching. That's why there's always this impression that we as academics in the universities have much fewer teaching hours, and the impression is that we have a lot of free time, which is definitely not true. I suppose my colleagues here would definitely agree with me. It's because we spend most of our time on research. And I'm showing you here one of our pages on our departmental website where you can actually click on our names and our pictures and see what we actually research on. A very wide variety of research topics. We are an international team engaging in interdisciplinary research and teaching. A very broad range of subjects related to politics. For example, Professor Scully, who just has spoken to you, is also part of the team, and he's an international renowned expert on UK politics as well as political representation in general. So there are not that many of us, so I do encourage you to go on our website and check out what we actually research and teach on. Now, how is that relevant to you? The thing is, once you join the university, you will also find that a big difference between high school and college or university is that you'll be doing much more research papers rather than taking exams. And I hope some of you would welcome this as a welcome change. Some others would find it quite challenging to do research on, trying to write research papers rather than memorizing things for exams. And this is a good start to know your future research advisors. About the program itself, I think one way to know, get to know more about the program is not just, trying to focus on the name, but look at the course list and see what they actually offer. And in most cases, as in the case of GIS, we'll find that there's a list of core major or core required, major required courses, and another group of courses called major elective courses. So I'll briefly introduce these two groups of courses. In terms of major required courses, we are actually relatively, we require you to take relatively few credits or units when it comes to this required courses, in order to allow you to have more choices later on when you get to your electives. And core discipline of our program would be political science and international relations. As you can see, these two foundations courses belong to these required courses. And our geographical focus would be East Asia and Europe. Areas of studies include comparative politics and area studies, international relations and diplomacy, as well as political philosophy and public policy. We have some more new thematic courses which cross geographic and disciplinary boundaries, as you can see in our much longer list of major elective courses, which cover topics from gender to security to religion and so on. Now, these are offered to you as choices. We can't promise that every semester we offer all of them. We are still a relatively small team, but throughout the year or throughout the 4-year cycle, we try to offer most, if not all of these. However, we still have a list of growing, I would say a growing list of GE courses, which are open not only to GIS majors, but also to other students in universities. Again, offering interdisciplinary GE courses that have politics or political science as one of the core disciplines, including sustainable peace, which I myself teach, and other intersections of public policy and philosophy. To supplement our course offerings, because we are a small team and we don't know everything, right? So we invite colleagues both within the university, but also outside, to share their fresh research findings, as well as to discuss, current political happenings and political phenomena, including elections that are about or have just happened. In fact, I think next week we're going to have an event on the American midterm elections, just in case some of you might be interested. And topics of research as well as public interest will be offered from time to time. Certainly, there would also be not only seminars and events on, European or other great so-called great nations, but also including local politics events of much of a local concern, also regularly organized, especially by one of our esteemed colleagues, Dr. Kenneth Chen, as you can see in the picture. And increasingly, I would like to highlight this, which is to create more opportunities for our students through the grants that we are applying or we have gotten, including both teaching and research grants that we increasingly, I would say, not only from GIS, but also across other departments in the faculty, to try to benefit student learning directly from some of these grants. So you could have the financial means, for example, to participate in international student conferences abroad, as well as conducting projects of your choice. Now, we don't have much time, so I would say that we welcome questions from you either later on when we have the Q&A session, or you could also write to us. But I would just point out one key question that I think it is on top of all of our minds when considering why still study politics in the Hong Kong of 2022 or 2023, when it's your chance to choose your subjects. To answer this question, I would like to quote Ambassador Zhang Jun at the United Nations. Recently, he spoke on Russia's war in Ukraine, and he calls for peaceful resolution of the crisis, as always. And in particular, he calls for the need, or he points to the need for what he calls a political solution to the problem, which is to say, a political solution is the opposite of a military one. Indeed, the art of politics is the opposite of violence, or the art of politics is indeed the art of resolving differences and transforming conflicts through peaceful means, such as power transition through democratic elections is a classic example. The use of violence to annex others' territories or to satisfy one's subjective sense of security is not the political way. As the political philosopher puts it, dead spots don't belong in politics. So my answer to the question that I just posed would be that, well, the more that we are in a conflict situation in Hong Kong, the more we need citizens with political wisdom and political skills, which the GIS program endeavors to offer our students. So please stay tuned with our social media platforms, and I hope to see you or some of you at GIS next year, preferably without masks. Thank you.
So this is our Department of Sociology, and I'm Dr. Keston Siu, the Program Director of the Sociology Major Program in Hong Kong Baptist University. So first of all, welcome all of you either coming physically or virtually to this talk and to our information day. So to all of you, I think you're here because you are now trying to understand what kind of subjects or discipline you want to study if you have the chance to get into university, right? And I'm going to tell you about one of our program, that is Sociology, 社會學, okay? And to a lot of you, actually you have some kind of experience in your high school that you have learned something about sociology. So I suppose in Form 6, okay, you still now have to study liberal studies, right? And in some of the component of your liberal studies contents, for example, economic globalization, cultural globalization, today's Hong Kong and modern China, they are all fall into some of the scope that sociology handles, okay? So in short, sociology is a discipline that investigates individuals and society. And actually we are in the family of social sciences, just with other subjects, for example, government international studies, and also geography. And there is a nickname for sociology in this family. Somehow we are called the queen of the social sciences, okay? And usually, to give you some more concrete understanding about what kind of themes that sociology handles. For example, we usually will handle gender studies, okay? Social network, okay? Social classes, education, family, and religion. These are all the research topics or the themes if you study sociology. Okay. But what is the core thing that sociology tries to do? Okay. And if you can see this very cute cartoon, okay, inside the PowerPoint slide, 中伏了, okay. Actually, I always use this example to illustrate what sociology is talking about. Every day, or every person, we sometimes will get into what we call the personal trouble. 我哋經常會中伏嘅, okay? And sometimes, for example, like you, now you are getting into trouble to think which particular subject you want to get into university to study, right? And somehow you get better result. You expect you get better result in your DSC exam, right? Somehow you also find yourself studying in particular subject that may be barring you, that may forbid you selecting particular discipline. These are something that troubling you every day, right? But somehow, have you considered that these kind of troubles is not your individual problem, right? Maybe it is a kind of institutional or social problem. 制度嘅問題, okay? Part of the reason why you have this kind of trouble because you have to take the DSC exam, right? Part of the reason you have this trouble because you are studying in Hong Kong's education system, right? So this is one of the example illustrate how sociology try to understand our personal trouble. We usually will try to understand people's personal trouble through studying some of the social institution, social structure, macro things, okay? To give you one more example, maybe after 4 years, after you study university, you will get into the job market. But after, for example, about 3 months, you still have no jobs, right? Then you become unemployed. Then you might challenge yourself by saying that, am I too lazy? Am I so incapable of getting a job? But for sociology, we usually not trying to think about these individual factors. We try to study some structural factors. For example, we will try to understand the changing social and economic situation in Hong Kong or population structure in Hong Kong that makes you into this kind of unemployment situation. So I hope these two examples can illustrate partly about how sociology handle personal trouble through studying our society in a macro way. Another thing that sociology also do is about social justice. We are a caring subject. That means we care our society. So that's why we usually will ask students to learn different types of social inequality in their society. For example, there are different gender stereotypes in our society, right? And there are a lot of racism and also unequal education opportunities. For example, if you come from a poor working class family, then you will have less educational opportunity or resources in contrast to some middle class or upper class families, okay? So sociology is also a very reflective and proactive subject. So let me give you another example illustrating this point. Do you still remember this tragic accident? I suppose most of you know this very famous boy band, Mira. They have their first concert, but very tragically, they have this kind of tragedy. And we know that this is very sad. A lot of us cannot sleep at that night, right? For sociology, we ask something more. How can we improve our society to avoid similar tragedy to happen? So that's why after this event, I assembled a research team to study the Hong Kong's creative worker and employment and occupational health and safety in Hong Kong. So that means for studying sociology, we somehow have some kind of mission to improve our society. Through studying sociology and researching sociological topics, we want to have a better tomorrow, okay? So after studying sociology, somehow you will also become some sort of person that you are not before you study sociology. For example, I will usually tell students that after being trained for 4 years in sociology, we love to debate with others because sometimes we don't accept a lot of taken for granted common sense thing. We do not believe that in our society, a lot of things are constructed. Actually, a lot of things are fake. We need to debunk a lot of different myths, okay? So one objective for sociologists is to debunk a lot of commonsensical and taken for granted fact, okay? And another thing is that because sociology is not studying individual factors, so we believe that sometimes societal factors affect you more. So that's why a lot of sociology students, after they get their training, they do not accept their fate because they do not believe that they are lazy, they are incapable, okay? And exactly because of this, they want to change the society for changing a lot of social factors. So if you want to become this type of critical and also a kind of very aspirational person, choose sociology. So in short, sociology can provide you a new way of understanding yourself, your situation, and sharpen your critical thinking, okay? So talking about what we can offer in teaching you, if you study sociology in our program, of course, we will train you to give you some of the introduction courses about sociology and sociological thinking and writing. We will also give you some sociological theories to equip you with different glasses to look at different issues. We will give you some of the, for example, gender theory. We will give you some of the class theory, social class theory, for you to understand social inequality in our society. Of course, we are a science subject. We need some kind of scientific method to study our society. So that's why we will also teach you different quantitative, that means doing survey, experiment, this kind of method. We will also teach you some of the qualitative method, doing interviews, focus group interviews, and participant observations to study human beings. And towards the end of your final year, every sociology student has to do an honors project in order to encapsulate everything you have learned before. And for other courses, you can see that here there are 4 major different themes of courses we give you. First is about gender and family and life course. Second is about social network and inequalities. Third is more macro about globalization and social change. And then it is about culture and identities. And one of the very interesting things is that a lot of sociology students enroll in our program find gender is a very interesting subject. So that's why our sociology program also contribute to the faculty's gender studies concentration, and you can declare a gender studies concentration, okay? And we will also provide different types of studentship and scholarship to help you to study and also to engage in different extracurricular activities. And of course, after training, after receiving 4 years of training, you have to do your honors project. The best way to understand how our student, after training, get interested in particular topic is to look at their honors project's topic. You can see in this slide, some of our students will do, for example, Cha Chan Ten studies, local identity studies. Well, they will also try to research on something very interesting, the relationship between tattoo and Hong Kong identity. Well, as I told you, our students love to do some gender studies topic. For example, some students love to do the boy love culture, and some students love to do some online dating, okay? These kind of experiences. We will also have some kind of cultural issues. For example, some students will try to study TikTok, and we try to study how mainland people study Hong Kong, as a kind of thing, as Hong Kongness, okay? Of course, politics is a kind of crucial issue. We will also study some of the political issue. For example, some of our students will study the social movement in the past few years, and also trying to study some of the gender issues and gender participation in different political movement. So, as teachers in university, it is a little bit different from the teachers in high school, but we also have different ways to engage you to understand your situation throughout your 4 years of studies. So that's why we also have the academic advisor system. That means, like me, professors will meet you every semester to understand your situation, your university life, your studies, and sometimes even if you have any health problem, we will also try to understand it and try to help you to smoothen your studies. So talking about career, and I can tell you that 80%, almost 80% of our students will have a full-time job, and others, they will pursue their further studies or self-employed. And about 1/3 of our students will go to some of what we call the community and social service. For example, they will go to some local social service organization to do, for example, youth service, to provide some of the women's service. And they will also go to government units, for example, go to census department to do statistics. And some of them will become teachers in teaching, for example, different types of subjects in high school. And 40% of them will go to commerce, for example, to go to marketing industry to do some social marketing. Recently, quite a number of our students being employed by marketing company to do social marketing. For example, they try to understand how different target client use social media, and somehow they need some people who has sociological training to understand how people will use this kind of social media, and sociology students have this kind of training. And of course, we are not just teaching you in our classroom. You will also have different types of exchange and internship opportunities. We have liaison a number of universities in UK, in Vietnam, in Taiwan, in Japan, and United States to provide you overseas exchange opportunities. And we also liaison with different global companies, for example, YMCA, Disney, okay, to give you internship opportunities inside and outside Hong Kong. And we also have different types of short-term exchange to some of the very top-tier universities in the world. For example, next year, we will bring the students to go to University of Chicago, which is #1 in sociology in the world, okay, to have 1 to 2 weeks of short-term exchange, so that students can learn in University of Chicago to exchange with the students and faculty members over there, and of course to have sightseeing over there. Apart from University of Chicago, we also have another short-term trip to the University of British Columbia in next May. So that means you will have chance to go to Vancouver too. So there are also other different local internship. I don't want to talk a lot about this because we have a lot to tell you later if you have chance. And last but not least, it is not just about teaching and learning. We also have emphasized a lot about students' extracurricular activities. For example, just last 2 weeks, we have different field trips into local communities, for example, to Anjing Waichun, to Chongqing Mansion, and then to Sam Shui Po, to understand different social issues in our life. For example, urban renewal, poverty, ethnic minorities in Hong Kong. And of course, we will have different types of orientation day activities. For example, we invite some of the bands coming into our orientation day to sing songs with the freshmen. And finally, please come to our counter, information counter on the 5th floor in the podium today. And we have some very nice souvenirs to give to you. And our department located in the 10th floor of this academic and administration building in Baptist University. So if you have a chance, you can also come to our location. And if you have, if you want to understand more, update information about our program and department, you can also scan our Instagram QR code. So thank you. Okay. So Dr. Lee, I give it back to you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Xiu, and thank you for my 3 colleagues for the interesting introduction of their majors. Now I will go ahead to talk about the admission requirements of our program. So this is our general entrance requirement. So 332233. So for 2 elective, we require level 3. So for the first elective, so it must be a Cat A subjects, including M1 and M2. And then for the second elective, it can be a Cat A subject or other language subjects at grade E or above. So we mostly look at your DSE score, and then we also consider the choice of banding and also other parameters shown in this table as the tiebreakers. We would like to highlight that we emphasize English, so that the weights of English is 2, while the other subjects, the rates are 1. Okay, so here are the admission scores of the past 4 years for reference. So this is our last year's mean score, and this is median lower quantile. So you can get this information from our AR website as well. So you can check it by yourself if you don't have time to go through that. But I'd like to remind you that the scores this only for reference because the situation may change year by year. Okay, so I understand that we have plenty of information today. So if you want to know more about our program and our faculty, you can scan the QR code here. And we also have like, I think 4 minutes. So because we have another section right, at 2 p.m., another briefing of our another program. Okay, so you can either type your question in the chat box, or you also can raise your hand. Okay, so we will invite you to ask questions if you see you raise your hands. Any questions? Okay, Okay, so I think we have a question about the mean score. So this is the mean score of different years. Okay, include for there's 4 core plus 2 elective. Okay, so any other questions? One of very typical questions student may ask is whether we have interview. So we in fact for our JS2610 we don't have interview for admission. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, we mostly look at your DSE score and a choice of banding and other tiebreakers. Okay. Hope we have time for 1 or 2 more questions. Anything about our programs or the majors, right? Introduce. Some students may ask about how we allocate the major, because we have 6 majors in our programs. So after you come here, right? So you consider as a block-based program students, and then after semester 1 or semester 2, you'll be asked to submit for the major application. So we will first, the number 1 we will consider is students' preference. Okay, your interest is always the most important factor that we consider. But in some case, sometimes, right, some majors may be very popular. Okay. In that case, if like right, the applications is the number of applications more than the quota, so then we will consider other parameters like a European study would do an interview. Then others majors would have tiebreakers, such as your GPA of the first year or the grade of the introductory courses of that major, etc. That will be considered. So you can have more information on our website, or you can talk to us later. Okay. So any other questions? So if no, so thank you for your participation. There's a lot of information. I hope that just feel free to visit our booth right, at the podium and join our activities, right? A tour arranged by the majors. Okay, thank you very much.
Dr. Lee, I think there's a question about ES German in the chat box, right?
Okay. Okay, so may I invite Professor Scali to answer this question shortly?
Yeah, sure. Thanks very much for the question. Basically, no. So I tried to mention this earlier, possibly I wasn't sufficiently clear. We do not assume that you have any previous knowledge of either French or German languages before you start the program. And that's one of the reasons why we spend a lot of time on intensive language training. So we get you to the point by year 3, you're actually able to go abroad and function in that language. But we assume that most people are starting from pretty much nothing. Okay, so I hope that's answered your question clearly.
Okay, so we also have another question about sociology. So may I invite Dr. Xu?
Actually, for non-JUPAS applicants, you can choose to study the block-based or the year 3 entry. Of course, it depends on your choice, of course. But if you select the block-based one, that means you have to go through the 4 years of program, and then after, and you may because it is a block-based one, that means in year 1, second semester, you still need to select your major if you at that time you're still interested in sociology. But if you select the year 3 entry, that means you already have been entered the sociology program, and we will try to help you to have some kind of credit transfer. For example, if you are now studying in some associate degree, we'll try to help you to transfer some portions of your credit so that you finish your study in the next 2 years. I hope I can answer your question.
Is history program taught in English? 唔係，歷史系嘅課有中文課有英文課嘅，係啦。只不過咁啱今日我呢個 admission program 我要講英文咁解啫，係啦。咁我哋裡面有其實我哋所有咁多個6個 program 都有中文嘅課同有英文，係咪㗎？多得間係咪㗎？考古你有㗎嘛？
No.
多少少。
For GCS we have普通話 training。我哋係有一科其實係唔講英文嘅，因為嗰科係訓練大家嘅普通話，咁係清華嘅語言系嘅老師嚟教嘅，咁嗰一科係唯一一科係唔講英文嘅。咁其實我想講 GIS 咧都係全部講英文。
100% 啊
？Yeah。
我哋冇100% 嘅，我哋冇100%。考普咧
，Geography 都冇中文嘅，100% 係講英文。
哦，係咩？嗱，我哋未係真係100%嘅 ，OK， 我哋有嘅，係啦。咁但係個比例唔係好高啊。另外啦，Are students with 3 A-level science subject eligible to apply to your program？ 係 eligible 嘅，係啦。如果你3科 A-level， 即係 A-level，anyway DSE 有 A-level。如果你讀 sciences 嘅 subject 咧，你係 eligible 嘅。不過睇翻前面嗰頁嘅 tiebreaker 啦，咁你可能喺前面好多 tiebreaker 嗰度會俾第二啲人擠走咗啊。係啦，嗱，因為你睇翻呢個 tiebreaker， 我哋由最頂開始睇 DSE score choice banding， 跟住已經係 elective result， 第4個 tiebreaker 已經係 best elective result，history Chinese history geography economics。咁呢度已經有一堆人㗎啦，咁跟住就5星星咁樣諸如此類啦，咁樣。咁除非你 DSE 個 score 一開始好高，係啦，咁就唔同。咁但係調翻轉啦，就係如果咧話我唔係 DSE， 我係GCS 用英國 A level 嘅嗰個 A level 咧 ，science 咧係冇問題嘅，係冇所謂嘅，係可以收嘅，我哋係可以收嘅。咁呢個唔使擔心，因為我哋有 geog 噶嘛 ，geography 噶嘛。咁嗰個 program 係即係你如果係讀 science 嘅話，你係 OK 嘅，係啦，冇問題嘅。咁另外有冇其他問題咧？因為我好似見到咗。
Hello Professor。
係。
呢度好似有啲同學有問題。
係好啊，你即係現場觀眾，你哋好啊，你有咩問題？
你好啊，我係今年亞蘇嘅學生啦，想問下 Year One Entry 嘅話係咪需要參加 interview？
哦，係啊，如果係 non-JUPAS， 即係譬如可能係亞蘇或者 community college 嘅朋友咧，係會有個 interview 嘅，係啦，咁就係個 individual program interview 嚟嘅，即係舉個例，可能係歷史系咁樣，咁你報，咁就係歷史系嘅人嚟 interview 你嘅。係啦，咁但係你調翻轉，你可以入2610嘅，你可以直由 Year One 讀起入2610，你有2個 option 嘅，所以一係你由 Senior Entrance 直入一個 department， 直入一個 program， 譬如 GIS， 譬如歷史，譬如地理，譬如數字，又或者你係入 JS2610都要 interview 嘅，但係2個其實係啦。咁但係如果你入 JS2610咧，咁你就係真係由 JS2610 Year One 讀起，係啦，Thank you。咁有冇其他問題？
我想問下，咁即係 broad base 入嘅話，係咪都係由即係譬如我想都係由每一個 major 單獨去 interview 定係？
哦，如果你係 broad base 咁樣入就唔係啦，咁我哋會組織一個 interview panel 出嚟嘅，咁就可能好 random 啦嗰個人，譬如可能你 interview 個 session 係一個Sociology 一個 GIS 嘅教授。咁啱你個 time slot 落咗落去嗰處，咁啊咁樣咯，係啦，又或者可能你就心裏邊想入歷史系嘅，點知原來係數字同埋 geography interview 你，其實冇分別嘅，因為我哋唔會因為你想讀咩而掉走你㗎，我哋就睇你 interview 得好唔好嘅啫，咁所以冇乜關係嘅。咁但係你話唔係，我係 senior entrance 嘅，咁就係你係入嗰個 program 嘅 interview，咁兩樣嘢嚟嘅，係啦。
係你好。咁我係亞蘇 Year 2嘅，咁我嚟緊若果想讀歷史係升 Year 3的話，即係銜接上 Year 3的話，需唔需要 interview 同埋按照翻你哋大約 GPA 要幾多先至有機會成功入得到㗎？唔該你。
多謝你嘅問題。咁嘅其實就基本上就係啦。如果你係 senior 嘅，你係銜接上嚟嗰種咧， 就唔係由2610 Year One 入咧，咁就係歷史係 interview， 係啦，歷史係 interview。咁啊，應該3、4、5月左右啦，每年咁上下，我印象中好似係咋嚇，我記得應該你落翻嚟個 booth 嗰度問一問。咁另外就係幾多 GPA， 其實你過咗3我哋都 in 㗎啦，講真，你過咗3我哋都 in 㗎啦。咁然後就睇下你到時 interview 嘅表現咯，係啊。你過咗3，即係你話我唔係啊，我1.8 GPA 嘅，咁可能就麻煩啲。但係你話你過3咁，基本上一定，即係你話可能爭少少咁都有得 interview 嘅，係啊，即係好
係同埋想問下Year Two 即係阿蘇 Year Two 升上嚟，若果DSE 嗰度因為我想讀呢個歷史係中國歷史嘅，咁若果英文 DSE 2咗，但係中試有5星的話，需唔需要補翻嗰個英文，即係可能IELTS 啊嗰啲㗎？
應該唔關事嘅。呢個要問一問 Natalie 啦。應該我印象中，如果你咁樣亞蘇入咧，你 DSE 發生咩事都冇乜關係。但係
即係未必一定要補翻 IELTS 嘅。
我懷疑啊，所以我想問一問啊，因為你咪先，你亞蘇嗰度有冇英文科讀？
有嘅。
咁咪得咯。
哦，即係就睇 GPA 嘅啫，其實主要就
你等我問埋阿 Natalie 確認下先。好的，嗱，我仲有第一個問題，有一個問題嘅，有個 anonymous 嘅 attendee 啊。如果副學位申請 Year One Entry 都要 interview， 要啊，係啊，副學位。總之其實咧唔使 interview 嘅情況就只係 DSE。咁你唔係 DSE 咧，即係你 non-JUPAS 咧就 interview， 係啦，你咁樣理解就啱啦，係啦。好，有冇其他問題？我 interview 唔使太擔心嘅 interview，group interview 咁大家開心傾下偈嘅啫，即係預著我哋呢啲係坐喺度笑嘅，考普啊多得加咧，我哋 in 咗幾多年。
係你好。係。我想問咁，即係如果我今年中6啦，咁我用 JUPAS 嗰個2610嗰個入，即係第一年係一定要Board Base 讀晒全部嘢，第2年先有得揀其中一個做 major 噶嘛？
嗱咁樣講咧，你入到嚟咧，其實除咗嗰個 Common Core 咧，你又唔係話真係要讀晒嘅。點解咧？因為其實我哋譬如6個 program 啦，我哋都會喺第一年你嘅 Year One 嘅第一年咧，每年都會 offer 啦，就係嗰啲 introductory course。但係你唔一定要 take 嘅，即係假設我舉個例話，我入到嚟其實我一心向往Dr. Kang 嘅。咁我就一定要入 GSC 㗎啦。咁你咪唔好讀歷史係嗰個 introduction 嗰個 course，你唔 take 咪得。咁你淨係 take 你哋德勒卡你有嗰個 introduction 㗎嘛？
係，我哋有2個 introduction course， 你其實是但揀一個都得嘅。或者你讀晒2個，因為其實個問題就係你讀晒之後，你如果入嗰個 major 讀過嗰2科就係計你嗰個 core major 㗎嘛，即係你個 major core 你就完成咗啊嘛，你以後就唔需要讀㗎嘛。即係其實6個 program 都係一樣嘅，就係每一個 program 都 offer 自己嘅1科或者2科嘅 introductory 嘅 course， 咁你就可以揀，譬如話我好想讀GCS 嘅，咁你咪揀嗰2科或者其中1科都得。咁你揀咗之後，你之後入咗 GCS 嗰2科或者1科已經喺你已經有 credit， 你唔需要再讀啦。咁樣咁其他嘅 program 亦都一樣。咁你話我完全冇興趣入某一個 program 嘅，咁我就唔揀嗰個 introductory， 都對你冇影響，係啦。
係啦，另外就有一句提醒就係同學，我哋其實曾經見過有同學咧係一個 introduction course 都冇讀嘅，係。然後 Year Two 先讀翻嘅，有啲曳到咧，係啊，Year Four 讀到慣晒先至走翻去讀咧都有嘅，所以其實冇乜所謂，真係冇乜所謂，即係你就唔會話擔心話，喂我入到嚟 Year One 我要夾硬讀歷史，譬如我一心向往地理嘅。咁結果我就夾硬讀歷史，冇呢啲情況嘅，唔會發生嘅，係放心。
OK， 即係我 Year One 都可以盡量揀翻自己有興趣嗰個繼續讀咗先，跟住
係啦，
好。
除咗嗰個 Common Core 嗰1個學分，咁你都估到啦，1個學分意味住啲咩？就係細科嚟嘅，係啦。
哦，好，唔該晒。咁
有冇其他問題？
有冇同學有其他問題㗎？哦，睇嚟冇㗎啦。
好到極啊！咁我哋咧就留翻啲時間俾佢哋下場啲朋友仔去 set up 啊。咁所以我哋今日咧就 call it a day 㗎啦。若果你哋仲想知道多啲，或者我而家暫時諗唔到問題，我沉澱完一間即係食完飯突然間諗到，咁去翻3樓個 booth 嗰度傾下偈。係啦 ，online 嘅朋友都一樣啦，就係即係話你話而家先至12點幾啊，你而家搭車過嚟，可能都講一次。有排我呢度去到5點㗎，咁所以啦，你可以考慮下，好唔好？咁我哋今日就去到呢度啦。So that's the end for today's first part of the virtual booth. So thank you for joining us and see you soon.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye, Dr. Kang, Dr. Khảo.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.